Alright, so it's January 10th, about 9:50 a.m. Just got out of the gym. Woke up this morning, had so much to say, but went to the gym, really calmed me down. And yeah, I'm feeling good after that cooked meal, man. Because my body was so much more cleaned out, my defense mechanism, as in when toxins come in, my defense mechanism, my healing mechanism has developed. In those 35 days I was juicing, it was able to mature and develop and um, be more, what's the word? Lack of a better term, but potent, more, a lot more stronger and efficient. So, eating that cooked meal, because yesterday I took about 4 shits. Today, as soon as I woke up, I took one. So my body's moving all that shit out. I'm feeling really good. Still feel on the heavy side. Today, after I worked out, I was 140, so my weight is dropping back down. I'm still drinking two to 2.5 gallons of juice, so it's not like I'm forcing myself to cut weight or anything. I'm drinking plenty. I actually have a slight bloat at the end of the day when I'm drinking juice, so I'm drinking plenty. It's just all that gunk is coming out of me. All that unnecessary weight is coming off of me, and it's just crazy because we're told, oh, you should have at least 10 pounds of fat on you in case something ever happens and you have that storage of energy. It's like, it's just complete bullshit. So much we're taught, it's just complete bullshit. Drink 8 glasses of water a day, it's just complete bullshit. Like, just things that sound so normal, things that we wouldn't even second guess about, like drinking 8 glasses of water or eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, those things are just not right. They're not normal. They fuck with the body's natural biological functioning, and we've been doing that every fucking day, daily. And so our body has grown, has just not accumulated, but has just adapted to those. It's become a need. Things that aren't a need have turned into needs, based on, it's like an addiction. You force this addiction onto your body, and now you can't live without it. Your body will freak out without it. You have to wean off of it or something, and that's that's a lot of acquired habits that we have are just addictions and such. Yeah, so I'm just gonna start reading this. What I started writing this morning. So I start off, what am I looking to manifest by making the choices I'm making now? My goal is to fully rejuvenate. As of now, that's my goal. It's just to heal. I don't know where this is going to lead me. I'm not trying to fathom where it's going to lead me, but just because I know it is the right thing to do, based on how much we've been lied to, how much suffering and tormenting, perpetuating the system brings onto other human beings. And so it's just, I know the direction I'm taking is the right direction. It's just, I'm not going to try and fathom the end result because my conditioning is just so limited. And yeah, so I'm just focused on healing. I'm just focused on the choices I make. I'm making sure the choices I make, the actions I take, my behaviors, um, my thought process, everything is realigning me back to my biological functioning, my true nature, realigning my body, mind, and spirit to fully tap back into my authenticity and to be living, to tap into that innate unlimited potential we have within. you know uh, 98%, 99% of our DNA is dormant, and they call it junk DNA, but it's like, I don't believe that, you know. We've just been so diminished and stripped of our powers that we're capable beyond belief. I mean, we are not this flesh, you know. Even though this flesh is a very unique system, when we die, I mean, we're a spirit, you know. We are an essence that gives this light, that gives this body awareness and consciousness and such, you know. This meat suit can be programmed. It knows. It just seems like a master architect, and I wouldn't say a good one, um, constructed this body, you know. Um, Maybe there are some requirements, as in you can't fully enslave a soul, or, you know, I don't know. But yeah, so my goal is to fully rejuvenate, for my biological functions to be operating organically, you know, its natural state, its true nature, to return back to its natural state, like I wrote, to no longer be dependent on external nourishment, to no longer be addicted to external stimulus or stimulants. I will no longer desire nor be in lack, because my body, mind, spirit will be in alignment. My body and mind being in an enclosed, intelligent, self-sufficient, autonomous unit of its own, producing its own nourishment and its own medicine when need be. With my spirit being the pilot of this avatar. Ego, which was developed out of survival, influenced by an inhumane society and environment made up by programming, conditioning, cognitive dissonance, lies, manipulation, brainwashing, abuse, trauma, that's all the ego, will be completely exterminated with nowhere to be found. Though I have zero references of someone who has reached this state of being that I'm talking about, you know, an actual alignment of body, mind, and spirit, of actually detaching from the chains and shackles of this enslavement, who have just transcended this shit. I'm not saying they turned into an angel or anything, or a spirit being, but I mean, I just don't know. You know, there's a lot of people who say they've done this. There's a lot of fucking people on Instagram, and a lot of breatharians and shit that just say, "Oh, I'm a star seed," and this shit. Like, dude, they are so far from that. They are. When I got into the spiritual community, I met some of the most narcissistic, I met some of the most emotionally traumatized people that were just masking their shit and calling themselves, masking their shit with a modality and calling themselves an expert on that modality. I mean, just some rude ass people, some gaslit people, some passive aggressive ass people. I mean, that spiritual community is toxic. Though I have zero references of someone who has reached this state, so I have no clue as to what that experience would be like. So let's go back. Yeah, my body and mind, because it's all the flesh. The mind is part of the flesh, you know, we're the spirit. So I wouldn't even say we're the mind. I don't know. I'd have to write on that and talk about that, instead of trying to contemplate it in this moment right now. But my body and mind being an enclosed, intelligent, self-sufficient, autonomous unit of its own. Yeah, I mean, this system is fucking, I mean, it's intelligent. It is it's just amazing how the communication of electrical signals and chemicals being released, and I mean, just You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza, that book is a Bible to the body and mind. I mean, that is a book I highly fucking recommend to read, because just reading on how the placebo works on a deeper level, rather than I mean, because the mainstream and all, they're trying to kill the information on this placebo. They don't want people, they want people to think that is just some woo woo shit. But man, that is some powerful ass stuff. I mean, it just shows you how strong, how capable the mind is when you break out of your box, when you break out of your conditioning of beliefs and your slavery programming, your limiting programming and beliefs. That is what keeps us sick. That is what keeps us addicted. That is what keeps us limited. So yeah, the placebo is very fucking interesting. You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza. Definitely check out that book. And you're gonna have to read over it a few times because there's just so much information. I'm reading over it the second time now. Alright, so yeah, I have no clue as to what this experience would be like. Oh, but back to so yeah, this body, I mean, it makes its own medicine, it makes its own chemicals. It's amazing. We've just went against its natural way of functioning for so long that it's no longer relied on itself to take care of itself. It's been having to use whatever's been coming in. Yeah. So yeah, producing its own nourishment as well as its own medicine when need be. I mean, who knows? Like when you're no longer healing and you're just cultivating on that power, that we're supposed to be from day one. We were supposed to have a safe space to allow that essence to just continue to develop and mature and blossom into its uniqueness and full capability. I mean, we've went against that. We've been diminishing that from day one. So, but it's just what I was saying was, what would we be capable of? Like, you see how fast a cut heals now when you get a cut. Imagine how fast it heals when your defense system, when your healing system is just rapid speed. Because see, right now we're always healing. Our body is always trying to rejuvenate, and every time we intake bullshit, whether it's through our mouth, through our mind, drugs through our nose, and bullshit through our ears, like, we have just so much dissonance going into our body that our body's just constantly having to rejuvenate itself, or keep afloat above the water, so to say, because it's just so much damage going on, especially when you're living in ego and the constant stressor. See, we don't just deal with stress for 2 minutes and then don't deal with it for a few hours. Like, we are constantly under stress. We've been under stress for so long. We think when we're relaxed that we're not stressed out, but we still have in the back of our mind, we're still subconsciously stressed with living in the ego, with living out of worry, fear, doubt, ill health, bills every 30 fucking days of our lives, having to get up and go to work tomorrow, like all these things. And we just don't realize how sick we are. We just don't realize how fucked up we are. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so much, our body's just on high alert, just constantly healing itself, and it's been doing that for so long. I mean, I really wonder, how long could we live when we're no longer healing? How long, what are we capable of? How fast do we heal when we're at that state? It's just things to look forward to on this journey, of living a healthy and truthful and honest lifestyle. I at least know that I will be tapped into my innate unlimited potential. I will be fully in tune with nature, as in communication with animals and nature, like plants and trees and just nature overall, beings as well, because that's a sense that has been diminished in us, is our connection to nature and our connection to animals, and our connection just nature in general. We're so out of tune from nature and such. That's one of our senses that are just diminished. So navigated by intuition, as if it were my own internal compass, as well as a gauge to know whether I am near or in safety or in danger. I was watching this woman who could speak with animals, and they were testing her out too. Like they were making her communicate with animals they would have never thought she could be able to communicate with, putting her in very dangerous situations to where if anybody else went there they'd get mauled, but she could resonate with the animals and speak to them. It wasn't like she was sitting there and having a conversation, it was telepathically, because these words are just constructed. These words limit us from our full expression of what we're feeling. These words are so limiting. They're really a spell, I would say. But yeah, another power of ours that's just diminished is telepathy, and being able to feel one another on a deeper level, to know what one is thinking and feeling without even having to say anything, which you've probably seen yourself that you can feel, but it's like, how strong is that when we no longer have dissonance in our body, the dissonance from the connection to our brain to our gut, from our brain, from chemical signals going from our brain to our body back to our brain. Like, I don't know. So having the body mind spirit connection, I'll be fully released from the shackles and chains of our enslavement by authority, though mainly from my limit. Yeah, so having the body, mind, and spirit connection, I will be fully released from the shackles and chains of our enslavement by authority, though mainly the shackles and chains from my limiting beliefs, my slavery programming, and my coping personalities, aka the ego that is full of alters, masks, and plays many roles, all out of survival. That's the ego. The ego is it's many identities. It's with different people, having a different identity with different people. You're not just your authentic self. You're not the same with every person. You just know how to be accepted based on different people. But yeah, so this, it's not just the enslavement by authority, but it's mainly from my limiting beliefs, my slavery program, my coping personalities, aka the ego that is full of alters, masks, and plays many roles, all out of survival. Because that's what I'm acting out of. Authority attacked us while we were newly born by infesting and perverting the family system. Therefore, the family system abusing and traumatizing us at our most formidable years, especially at a time we had zero ability to stand and speak for ourselves. We couldn't reason with our abusers because of not being able to speak, nor could we run away from the harm, the mistreatment, the dissonance of not being treated as whole and a human. We couldn't run away because of the physical limitations we have the first 5 years of our life. We're just not capable of it. All we could do was shut off our authenticity in order to survive. We learned to cope with the inhumanity, therefore becoming obedient to authority and complying to the dysfunctional ways of the operation of society. We had to learn how to cope with that because we couldn't run from it. We couldn't hide from it. We couldn't reason with the adults at that time. We couldn't stand up for ourselves in any way, and you can't deal with the truth of the reality of how broken and dissonance it is, how dysfunctional it is. So you have to shut off everything that is, you have to shut off. And because as a baby, all you want is to be heard, to be seen, to be valued, to be loved, to receive affection and attention. That's all you're looking for. And so, I mean, babies, they are so highly intelligent. They know how to please their masters by paying attention to their reactions, they're so in tune with, as a baby, you're so in tune energetically with your parent. You can feel them on a whole different level. They can be there and be, I love you, but you can feel the stress, the worry, the doubt, all the stress from work, all the stress from bills that come every 30 days, stress from their car issues, from the stove just went out, things like that. And but yeah, as a baby, you learn, you become, because you're trying to receive that affection and that attention, to be loved, to be seen, to be valued, to be heard, so you become obedient to authority, and start complying to the dysfunctional ways of the operation of society. After a while of daily and moment by moment repetition of this, we view this reality as normal, and learn that it's even a gift of life. So to get to where I want to be requires lots and lots of work, mainly being mental and emotional work, as we become limited and diminished by the perversion of our minds, which has led us to an emotional attachment to this chaotic drama we learn to hold so tightly onto. A way to control someone is as simple as controlling their beliefs. Trying to heal the physical body before focusing on the mental, spiritual, and emotional aspects first is like putting the cart in front of the horse. You'll get nowhere. And that's what everybody thinks when it comes to healing. Oh, I'll just change my diet. Oh, I'll just start walking more. Oh, I'll start going to the gym more. Oh, I'll start getting outside and getting some fresh air more. No, that's not going to fucking heal you. That's not going to do shit. And usually that just comes out of ego, because you want a better looking body, you want to look better, you want to, you want to perform better, this and that. But no, that's not the way to heal. I did that for 5 years, focusing on the physical, and it did nothing but throw my ass deep into a depression where I just hid away and was so lost. And eventually I was lucky enough to realize that, oh, this is a mental and emotional battle. This is a mental game. This is deeper than just fasting and working out and doing yoga and breath work and all the modalities I got into. Qigong, Tai Chi, all that stuff. It was more than that. It was more than the physical. But yeah, trying to focus on the physical first before any of the mental and emotional is like putting the cart in front of the horse. You're just going to get nowhere. So like I said, the perverted authority in our mindless minion abusers, our parents, got us while we were young and imbued us with their Alright, so let me restart. So like I said, the perverted authority and our mindless minion abusers, this can be our parents, our teachers, our religion, the church we go to, aunts, uncles, everyone who participated in our abuse and allowed it to happen. And they got us while we were young and imbued us with their programming and propaganda to the point where we no longer had to be watched over, 18 years old, whenever you get out of high school, whenever you were on your own, because now we learned how to comply and follow along to get along. We've now become our own personal jailers, as we willingly mistreat and abuse ourselves especially continuing to participate, giving all our time, energy, and attention to perpetuate the sick, perverted, inhumane, dysfunctional system of enslavement and abuse. That's that's what the whole indoctrination center for 13 years does. Our parents teach us how, our parents get us on the program, how to act in society, how to fit in, how to listen to your authority, how to obey, how to be obedient, how to comply. And then they send us off to the indoctrination centers, and that's when it really, it gets hammered down into us, on how to fucking be obedient and comply. And like my dad says, they test you for compliance. They test you to make sure you're learning their curriculum, their bullshit curriculum. They make sure that you're getting on the program and you're following along. And you're constantly tested for compliance, for weekly in school, and yearly. And I mean, it's just so much bullshit. That indoctrination center, it's so bad. Yeah, so it gets beat into us, and now because we identify so hard with this system, we just do it to ourselves now. We learned how to we learned to be addicted. We learned that we need to be someone in this fucked up, corrupt society. So we strive to be the best we can, to become a label, to reach a certain status quo, to be somebody, right? We're just taught that we lack from day one, that we're stupid from day one, that to be somebody you have to get certificates, and to be worth something, to have a net worth, you have to work your ass off, and you have to earn it. We're taught that we're useless until we become another cog in society. So the trauma, conditioning, and indoctrination was so immense, we not only became our own jailers, but we police our own people to make sure they're not stepping out of line. I mean, yeah, for real. We make sure people are in line as well. We make sure our neighbor is in line. We make sure our family members are in line. Anybody starts stepping in line, oh, they might need to go to the psych ward. Oh, we might need to call police on them. Oh, they might be a terrorist. Oh, But yeah, first step to freedom is recognizing and accepting the reality exactly for the way it is. To realize the torment it brings to others in order for it to function the way it does. To realize the system is not broken, but operating exactly the way it was intended to be. To realize we have been stripped of our humanity, therefore our authenticity. To realize truth and authenticity are forbidden on this realm. You can be locked up, thrown in jail for saying shit like this. You can even be killed. You can be viewed as a terrorist. You can even be thrown in a psych ward for saying shit like this. I mean, it's truth, like they even say detaching from this world, like I'm doing, is a disassociation with reality. Like they have called so many natural reactions to a sick society disorders, ADD, ADHD, autism, just thinking for yourself, asking questions, questioning authority. Like they call those things disorders, but it's not disorders. It's a natural way. It's a natural response to a sick society. My dad talks a lot on his experience growing up as a child, and having to deal with all these authorities and church priests and such like that, and always looked at as the problem. But he could see right through their facade. He could see them lying through their teeth, and he would question the fuck out of them as a little 10-year-old, and they would tell him to shut the fuck up. I mean, literally. and look at him as the problem. Oh, he's testing my ideas, my theories, and we can't have a little child doing that. He must be, something's wrong with him, you know. So yeah, people who can't fall in line because they know it just doesn't make sense, and so they're looked at as having issues. And usually these people, and because they're told that they have issues and they're fed drugs, and they end up having fucking psychotic issues, as in just totally out of it and shit like that, you know, trying to fit into this sick society. You know, it's sick if you're able to fit into this society. You know, that's a disorder. If you're able to operate in this society and feel totally normal and happy and get, you know, go along to get along, I mean, that's a disorder. Being able to fall right in line and operate just like nothing's wrong, that's a disorder. But yeah, biggest realization of all is realizing your participation in it all is perpetuating the abuse down to the next generation. That's you know, because everything we own, this car, this phone, I mean, it all started from slaves in third world countries mining for this material, you know. All our food, even that's why I can't stand these fucking health experts, nutritionists who flabbergast about being on, like, even these raw vegans who flabbergast about their fucking diet. And it's like, do you know where that shit comes from? Like, we have ambushed countries, taken over their land and their resources in order to grow our food on there, and not even give them that food and have that food shipped back over here for us to eat, you know. That's why, like, on this journey, I'm not sticking to vegan my entire life. I'm not sticking to juice my entire life. I'm trying to get to where I'm not consuming at all. Like I said, I'm getting my body, mind, and spirit back in alignment, and my pharmacy, my nutrition, my medicine, everything, it's gonna be coming right through here. I'm gonna get my system back to its whole state. That's what healing means, to become whole. You know, we're broken. So yeah, like, you know, it's not to get comfortable, you know, as you're on this journey. Because look, when me and my dad started, I mean, at one point in our journey, you know, we went all meat and we felt much better. But that's because we cut out so much of the processed shit, you know. And that's the thing, you can't settle for these little improvements. You got to continually change things up. You got to reach that pinnacle, you know. Because you're gonna feel better when you cut bullshit out of your life. But the thing is not to get not to identify yourself with that modality. You know, there's levels to this shit, and there's so much room for growth as you continually yeah. But yeah, biggest thing is just not to get comfortable, you know. So yeah, that's the biggest realization of all, is realizing your participation in all of this is perpetuating the abuse, not just down to the next generation, but it's perpetuating the abuse to slaves all over. It's even perpetuating the abuse to yourself, as you are a slave in this system, you know. I like to say, with a phone, for an example, it comes from third world countries where they don't even get money for what they work for. They just get a place to live and food in their bellies, and then it gets shipped to the raw material from that gets shipped to second world countries, where it gets assembled, where they get paid hardly $1 an hour, working 16 hours a day, and then that gets shipped to right down here, in my town, to the guy who is getting paid $15-20 an hour to sell a $1,000 phone, who gets the majority of the money, the fucking corporation, you know, those people. So it's you're a wage slave. If you have to work at least 40 hours a week and you're still struggling, and you just have one job working 40 hours a week, you're still struggling to pay your bills each month, you're living paycheck to paycheck, maybe you're one paycheck ahead, but still, like, you're always worried financially. I mean, that's a wage slave, and that's the majority of the people in the US, you know. Yeah, so there's that. Recognizing and accepting comes with complete honesty, not trying to justify, not trying to defend. 100% barriers down with an open mind, being 100% honest. You have to be fucking honest. You have to really look and analyze this shit to a T. You know, if you find yourself trying to justify, if you find yourself trying to defend your beliefs, I mean, yeah, just, you really gotta go in it with your barriers down and open mind. The recognition and acceptance, this knowing, made my detachment from this illusion much easier. But before I could detach, I had to face my personal reality. I had to face my trauma, my abuse, my ego, my pride, my conditioned instincts, beliefs, and behaviors, my habits, my cravings, my desires, where I was placing my attention, what I worshipped and idolized in my life, what I was working towards, what I strive for. I had to see what I was emotionally attached to, you know, because, you know, that's where the true change comes, is when you start not just recognizing and accepting the reality for which it is, and everything's fucked and this and that, and now becoming a victim. No, because you have no right to bitch and complain about the hell you're in if you're going to continually participate in it and continually willfully poison yourself and indulge in the breads and circuses and indulge in the pleasures that your abusive authority hands to you. You know, you have no room to bitch and complain if you're still participating in this illusion. So it's a huge self-accountability, self-realization, you know, self-introspection of your part in this reality, and seeing what changes you can make to pull yourself the fuck out of it. Because you're not doomed. Knowing this stuff, you're not doomed. Knowing this stuff brings a lot of freedom. It's just, are you gonna step up and do what you need to do? You know, it's like, why know this stuff but be like, oh well, it's all I know, it's comfortable, it's familiar, it's effortless, so I'm just gonna continue doing it. It's not, though. It may feel familiar, it may feel comfortable, it may be effortless, but it's taking a huge fucking toll on you. And I can tell you, doing this work is highly important, because this is the only thing that's going to save yourself when death comes, you know. Because this warfare is a spiritual warfare. Like I said, we're not this flesh. It's a spiritual warfare. We're spirits. Yeah, I'm not saying God. I'm not saying devil. I'm not saying gods and angels. You know, fuck all that shit. Who even knows? You know, that stuff not even to you got to focus on what you have control of right here, right now, and that's why you're the only one who can save yourself. You know, and so you got to start calling your shit out. You got to face your shit exactly for the way it is. Face your reality exactly for the way the fuck it is, and admit to your participation in perpetuating the enslavement and abuse onto others. You know, it's not beating yourself up. It's just getting real with yourself and seeing, because you'll never. This should give you your why. You know, this should give you your drive. This should give you that inspiration to step the fuck out of it. You know, it's not to go, oh well, I'm gonna be the only one who's doing it, there's no reason to even do it. No, fuck that. It all starts with someone doing it and becoming an example and giving others hope and giving others inspiration that this can be done, you know. And we're all resonating on a frequency level, so as you heal yourself, that shit is sent outwards. That shit attracts, you know. Healed people heal people. Broken people do not heal people, they just virtue signal and perpetuate the cognitive dissonance and the abuse and the addictions. That's all broken people do. They think they are helping because they're doing, it's all narcissistic behavior. Why am I emotionally attached? Oh yeah, so yeah, like I was saying, the recognition and acceptance, this knowing, made my detachment from this illusion much easier. But before I could detach, I had to face my personal reality exactly for the way it was. My trauma, my abuse, my ego, my emotional and mental baggage that I've been numbing and suppressing for years on end, my ego, my pride, my conditioned instincts, beliefs and behaviors, my habits, my cravings and desires, where I was placing my attention to, where I placed the majority of my attention to, what I worship and idolize in my life, what I work and strive towards for in my life. I had to see what I was emotionally attached to, and I had to ask myself, why am I emotionally attached to this thing? Why do I feel lack or uneasy when I don't have this thing at the same time every day, or whenever I have a certain emotion arise that I need to get away from? You know, why do I feel lack and uneasy when I don't have that thing that gets rid of those feelings? As I started doing child work and tracing back a lot of my issues back to the root, as I started confirming and solidifying that knowing that we are being fucked with intentionally, that society isn't a shitty situation because of some wrongdoings from people in the past, but because this chaos is intentional. Because people want to say, oh, it's the fall of mankind. No, fuck that. This shit's intentional. This shit is mad. Like I said, a master fucking architect wrote this shit out, scripted this shit out, and somehow duped our spirits into coming here. And just, yeah. So as I started realizing I wasn't only addicted to material things and possessions, but I was highly addicted to behaviors, drama, and emotions. That's the thing. It's not just the physical. It's not just, oh, I'll get rid of my box of clothes, my box of shoes, and there we go. That's another step in healing. No, it's not the material things. It's not so much the material things and the possessions themselves. It is your emotional attachment to those things, as well as being addicted to behaviors, drama, and emotions. Like, you gotta realize emotions send off chemical signals. Just like when you eat highly toxic food, it has chemicals. Like when you do drug, it's a chemical reaction. Emotions too. People are addicted to feeling low. People are addicted to feeling depressed. People are addicted to feeling chaos and drama, and being like women, for example, staying in an abusive relationship. They'll talk all about how horrible it is. They'll talk about every way of getting out of it, but never do a fucking thing. They'll go right back to it. Addicted. I see it in my siblings. They're addicted to going back to their abusers. They can't leave their abusers home. My mom, my brother's mom, they're addicted to people who treat them like shit. Those are addictions we got to break from. Even the thoughts of helping people who have abused us. Oh, well, I got to be there for my mom. She raised me. No, it's not your responsibility. You were fucking forced into this existence already. It's not your responsibility to take care of someone who forced you into this fucking existence out of their own ignorance. And not only out of their own ignorance, but they mistreated, they abused you and traumatized you and forced you to fit into a sick society and forced you to comply and follow along and forced you. I mean, it's yes, your parents didn't intentionally mean to maybe your parents didn't intentionally mean to abuse and traumatize you, but they did. They fucking did, out of their own ignorance and out of their own lack of will and discipline to realize that that they were addicts and shit too. You know, they taught you how to be an addict. They taught you to cope. They taught you to chase a status quo. They taught you to be somebody in a broken society, to perpetuate this enslavement, you know, to live the life they never got to live. You know, it's bullshit. Yeah, so, you know, getting that, you know, we got detach from those behaviors, those oh, I'm the light in my family. I'm gonna save them all, or, you know, things like that. Yeah, you can't help anybody until you help yourself. You can't love anybody until you know how to love and respect yourself. Because if you're still poisoning yourself, if you're still indulging in the breads and circuses, into the holidays, into worshiping everything about this system, idolizing celebrities, idolizing the entertainment that mocks your abuse, you know, how can you say you're helping anybody? Because when you help somebody, you're probably, oh, well, let's watch a movie and just forget about it. Oh, let's go out to eat. And, you know, you're doing nothing. You're not helping them at the root issue. You're just like a doctor who prescribes pills. You're just putting a band-aid on their issues by comforting them. So yeah, you know, helping someone is speaking truth. Helping someone is helping them get to the root issue of their issue. Helping someone is giving them a safe space to express and fully release. But yeah, truth, honesty, that helps people grow. Calling people out for their shit, that helps people grow. You know, people don't like calling others out for their shit because they know they're lying themselves. So if I call you out for your shit, you're going to call me out for mine, and now we're both exposed. And people hate being exposed because now it leaves them with the two choices of okay, well, I can work on myself and fix my wrongdoings, whatever, or I can continue being a fool, you know? And most people, they don't want to work on themselves. They don't want to change because they're so comfortable in the familiar. They love the familiar and the effortless way of living. But the only reason why they love that is because that's all they've known. They don't, like I said, you don't realize what healthy is until you stop doing the things that you're familiar and comfortable with. Yeah. But yeah, not only realizing that I was addicted to material things and possessions, and that it was an emotional attachment to those things, but also realizing that I was emotionally attached to behaving a certain way. I was addicted to drama. I was addicted to certain emotions. All this helped me greatly on detaching from false knowledge and beliefs, detaching from all the survival characters of the ego, detaching from behaviors as well as expectations set by society, family, and my own ego for a status quo, to, you know, my own ego for a certain status quo, my own ego for to have a label in this society, detaching from all that. So yeah, detaching from false knowledge and beliefs, detaching from all of my survival characters of the ego, detaching from behaviors as well as expectations set by society, family, and my own ego for status quo, for a label in the society. Detaching from all of that helps detach from the physical addictions. So yeah, detaching from all those things, now the physical healing comes. You know, putting the mental and the emotional first, and as you start healing that, I mean, don't focus on the physical at all. Don't. Fuck it. Yeah, you know, try to make some changes in diet, things like that, make better choices, be conscious at least if you're gonna indulge in and bad habits with the physical, you know, but really hammer down on that mental and emotional healing, that recognition and acceptance for your reality exactly for the way it is. Because as you do that and you start and you just start realizing how sick and perverted this shit is and how you've been fucked with since day one and stripped of your humanity and your authenticity, you will gradually and naturally want to start doing what's right, want to start doing what is actually meaningful and such, because that's all we want. We do things because we find meaning in it. And when you can find meaning in this, when you see the true meaning in this and how this is actually more meaningful than any other fucking thing you could ever do, you'll gradually find yourself putting more time and attention to this healing and this detaching. So yeah. So yeah, all that, detaching from all that helps detach from the physical addictions like entertainment, accumulating and owning endless possessions, dependency on dopamine hits, whether that be food, drugs, self-destructive habits and behaviors. You will never realize the true meaning of you will never realize the true meaning of what the fuck does that say? You will never realize the true meaning of is more while being majorly emotionally attached to things. I don't know what the fuck that last sentence says. But yeah, detaching from false knowledge, beliefs, detaching from all of my survival characters of the ego, detaching from behaviors. Yeah, so well, I don't know, I feel like there's so much more I want to say, but yeah, like in the beginning, like I was saying, my goal is right now it's just rejuvenating, is fully healing, recovering from all the abuse, recovering from all the self-inflicted abuse as well as the abuse that was done onto me outside of me, and detaching as much as I can. Like I said, I got a bullshit job I would have never gotten before, a retail job, just because I've been detaching so much. I don't spend money except for food and bills and my car, like gas. I don't go out and shop. If I need anything and go to a thrift store, like I've just gotten my expenses down more and more and more and more. Getting rid of monthly subscriptions, things like that, and so yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm not even trying to fathom where this is gonna take me. I can feel daily how more clarity is coming to mind, how more ease I feel my body, more vitality I feel my body, and so and just the knowledge of it all, I just know I'm taking steps in the right direction, and so it's but yeah, my goal is to, my ultimate goal is to no longer be participating in this society, no longer, no longer giving it my time and attention, no longer giving it my money, which I don't even want to have money. Like I said, when you have this body, mind, and spirit in alignment, and you're no longer healing, and you're developing your vitality, you're developing your innate capabilities and your innate powers and your innate intelligence, and just like densing that power in you. And it's like, I mean, it's just, what are your capabilities, you know? When your intuition is so strong, you know when to go right instead of left, and left instead of right, and you know when to stay, and you know when to go, and you just, you know, you can feel when something's wrong. You can feel when, you know, like, that is a sense that is diminished in us. We are no longer, our intuition right now is just so fucked from all the conditioned beliefs. So we have fucked up instincts, we have fucked up behaviors, you know, we have fucked up beliefs. And so but all that can be recovered, all that can be turned right back around. I mean, because you see this body, it has a mechanism that just is constantly healing. It's always trying to heal, it's always trying to recover. So when we finally stop forcing, and we finally take a step back and take a breather and let this intelligence do its thing and aid it in its process, you know, I mean, who knows, man? And so that's my excitement, is just continuing on this path and seeing where it leads me. And I can already feel its benefits after that 35 days of being on juice. Today is my second day of my second round back on juice, which I'm very happy for. I mean, goddamn, yesterday I was dealing with cravings, but like I said, that experiment fucking gave my willpower some fucking power. I mean, it strengthened my will. It strengthened my knowing. It solidified my knowing. So as soon as those cravings came, I mean, I knocked them out quicker than I have any time before. I was able to get them out of my mind instantly, because I viewed it exactly for the way it was. I said, no, that shit's poison. That shit is made to addict you. That shit is not supposed to be in the body whatsoever. You know, I had so many reasons. Even, you know, what is a real reward? You know, food, that 15-minute pleasure isn't reward when it comes with 20 different side effects, you know, and it only has one benefit. You know, things like improving my health comes with many benefits. It doesn't come with any side effects other than it might make in the moment hard, but it makes the future easier. You know, it goes like with this quote that really hits me, is discipline makes things hard now, but things easier in the future, whereas excuses makes things easy now but things harder in the future, you know. And it's just, that makes so much sense. I'm butchering that some, but that's along the lines of how it goes. You know, discipline makes things hard now but easier in the future. Excuses make things easy now but harder in the future. And that's exactly, I mean, I have so much experience with that quote. You know, I can resonate with that quote so deeply, because I've been through that so much. But yeah, so yeah, those cravings came, and I instantly fucking got them out. Because like I said, I'm never eating cooked food again. Fuck that. I'm getting to where I need to get to, and where I need to get to requires zero cooked food. It required 2 days ago, that experiment with the cooked food, though, for me to really solidify on that knowing. Like, yeah, it was a risk, but that risk is going to get me much further on my journey, as if I weren't to take that risk. You know, if I wasn't to take that risk, I wouldn't be in the mindset I am at today. So yeah, I needed that experience, and I can feel my willpower has strengthened. I can feel my determination, and my knowing has strengthened and solidified. So yeah, gonna continue on. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm just taking it moment by moment, being fully present and making all the right decisions I can. And any choice, any actions I make, why? You know, what's my why to do this? What is this going? what is this feeding? Is it aligning me towards my freedom? Is it aligning me towards my true nature, my biological functioning? Is it aligning me towards reclaiming my authority and my authenticity and my sovereignty? Or is it realigning me towards my ego? Is it aligning me towards perpetuating the enslavement? Is it feeding into the system? Is it, is it feeding to my enslavement? Is it yeah, so like I've written before, I say this reality is a joke, though the moves made are critical, as our choices align us either with our true essence or our enslavement. Yeah, which is just 100% correct. Yeah, this reality is a fucked up joke. Yeah, this reality is a complete fucked up joke. But so people would just go, oh, well, I'm just going to live it up and enjoy the pleasures until I die. And it's like, do you even know why you want to do those things? Because they've been conditioned into you. Because you're so broken, and that's the only ease you can find in your life right now. You've been fed, you've been conditioned into being an addict. Yeah, so people don't even realize that when they say that of, oh, I'm just going to enjoy the pleasures of this life until I die, you're enjoying what has brought so much pain and torment into your life, what has brought so much abuse and trauma into your life. And by participating in that, you're passing that down generations. You're setting that example that it's okay to do that to the young ones, which is just not right. It's not right. You gotta overcome that shit. Because nothing will change if we just stay the same. Nothing will change if we don't stand up for our liberty and for what's right. We have to be that change. Healed people heal people. All right. Hope y'all got some from this. I'm just happy I can speak out. These videos are helping me. It's keeping me accountable as well. And yeah, I hope to hear from y'all. If y'all make videos, let me know, because people who are on this journey, I love to watch their videos. The only people I watch is my dad and Joshua S. John, which is another really great channel. He speaks a lot of truth. He really speaks from the heart and from his mind. So Joshua S. John, he's a good channel to watch. And my dad, of course, Richard Swink, he also has another channel, Embodied Souls. Both great channels. He has a bunch of great information on there and everything else he has put on there. So I definitely recommend those two channels. But yeah, I know Heather, she comments on my posts, and so Heather, I haven't checked your channel out, but if you make videos, let me know. I'd like to watch them and see where you're at and be able to connect and such. Anybody else who watches this and hasn't commented, feel free to comment. Feel free to let me know that you post videos, because if any of my friends, if any of my close relatives, if any of my acquaintances were posting videos, I'd be watching them, because I find that very interesting. I was posting that on Instagram yesterday. I was like, man, so many people say they care for me and they love me, and they know I have a YouTube channel, but they never watch any of my videos. It's like, if you really cared about what's going on in my life, you would watch a video, but they're itching so hard for something that rocks them so hard with dopamine that they would rather watch entertainment or sports or some shit. They would rather watch nonsensical shit, because watching a 30-minute video of their buddy speaking would put them to sleep. They don't have the attention span for that. And so yeah, it's You know, but for me, I find these videos so interesting. You know, if any of my friends or family were making videos like this, I'd be full on indulging on them. I'd be watching them all the time, and yeah, it's just crazy. People are so addicted to those dopamine hits. They can't get away from it, and they can't focus on the things that actually have meaning in this life, because they're so addicted to the fantasy and the illusion. Alright guys, but yeah, be wise on the choices you make, and just be mindful and question everything, and even yourself on the actions you're about to take, the decisions you're about to make. You know, is this aligning me towards my true essence and what's right and what's humane, or is this aligning me towards my ego, towards my enslavement, is this perpetuating the abuse onto others? You know, it's as simple as that. Get real, be honest.